So looking to the future, there's a few areas of change right now that are framing our strategic landscape. The outcomes of those changes could in fact radically alter our human and natural systems. The idea of change at this scale can feel overwhelming, especially after this very difficult year. But we believe that there is hope, and it is by exploring what could happen that we can be better prepared, and that we can possibly, as policymakers, as the government of Canada, influence what will happen. And so that's really at heart of our mission here at Policy Horizons Canada. So let's get into some of those areas of change over the next decades. La pandémie a fait plus de 3 millions de morts dans le monde et malgré les vaccins, il y a encore beaucoup d'incertitudes par rapport à notre capacité de contrôler le virus, ses mutations et aussi partout dans le monde. Mais au-delà de la COVID-19, le changement climatique et les stress environnementaux peuvent vraiment donner lieu à une cascade de risques sanitaires et d'urgences mondiaux. Et nous pourrons nous trouver ainsi dans un état perpétuel de préparation et de réponse aux situations d'urgence. Et tout ceci aura bien sûr des impacts économiques. On le voit déjà. Les chaînes d'approvisionnement sont en train d'être vues au nom de la résilience. Et les perspectives pour la croissance économique et le commerce mondial sont incertaines. Par contre, les inégalités au niveau local et au niveau global se creusent de plus en plus et le Covid et la pandémie y ont contribué. So another area of key change that we're seeing is digital technology. Sure, digital technology has been with us for quite some time, and digitization has greatly accelerated through the pandemic. But there's so much more to come, because there's a whole global digital infrastructure that is taking shape, with maturing technologies going from the Internet of Things, blockchain, artificial intelligence, and so forth. So imagine now. Imagine what would be the impact of large-scale capacity, 3D printing. How that could have an impact on millions of people that do not have access to affordable living right now. Or imagine that you'll be trying out your clothes in a virtual space and get them delivered to you, custom fitted by a tailor halfway across the world, who was found by you, for you, by your artificial intelligence-powered virtual personal assistant. Isn't that a dream? Being able to produce these raw materials, goods and services at very low costs and with few human intervention radically changes the parameters that define our market economics. It will influence which business models will prevail. It will also change prices of goods and services, but also of wages, interest rates, rents, and it will deeply change the nature of work. But as these technologies become more and more mainstream, we can also see how humans will be removed from the supply chains, not just with the rationale of optimizing profits in relation to employee costs, but in order to lessen the risks related to human health and behavior. And then we can wonder what that would mean for employment rates. But digital technologies are not only affecting our material world and our built environment. We're seeing digital technologies and biological science is merging, and it's really acting as a reinforcing loop. And what places us really at the cusp of a revolutionary expansion in life science and technology and biotechnology. So again, imagine what it would mean if you had the power to change bodies easily. Imagine if you could create new organisms cheaply. Or if you could change or redesign our ecosystems of part of that at a large scale or in a profound way. La convergence bionumérique a vraiment le pouvoir de transformer les modèles économiques et commerciaux. Elle peut aussi transformer des secteurs entiers. Et elle peut mener à terme à l'effondrement des avantages stratégiques compétitifs de certaines régions. Mais l'innovation bionumérique peut également constituer une nouvelle source importante d'emplois et de richesse. Et tout comme la numérisation de l'économie, la convergence bionumérique soulève aussi bien des enjeux liés à la sécurité, la confidentialité, la confiance, l'équité et les droits de la personne. But beyond all these technological changes, we're also charting very profound social transformations. COVID-19 has shown us that social connections are really a cornerstone of social resilience. And loneliness was pervasive already way before the pandemic, but the feeling of loneliness combined with social isolation can have serious consequences in the future on physical and mental health of the populations. And it can lead to stress on healthcare systems, on social services, but also on overall productivity and well-being. There's also big shifts happening in how we find information and how we take that information and transform it into actions and decisions, or in the way we make sense of the world. It's our biases, our ways of getting that information, and our perspectives that all appear to be becoming a lot more polarized and competing. At least the polarization is more visible. And that is occurring at different levels in society, as we're seeing. It happens amongst individuals, it happens among groups in society, and it happens amongst nations. Yet, sense-making plays a key role in trust in institutions. It defines what we think we want. It defines what we find acceptable on a wide range of areas, whether we're talking about open data, the ethical limits of bioengineering, inequality, immigration, just to name a few. Et retrouver une certaine forme de cohérence sociale devient d'autant plus important que nous n'avons pas encore résolu comment, voire si, nous pouvons vivre à l'intérieur de la capacité de charge de nos écosystèmes. Les physiques de changement climatique devraient s'intensifier, certainement à partir des années 2030. Et cette réalité-là, elle accélère les pressions migratoires, elle précipite de nouveaux défis sanitaires, et elle intensifie l'instabilité politique et les crises humanitaires. Et enfin, la gouvernance mondiale semble être à la croisée des chemins. La manière dont l'avenir va se dessiner influencera les marchés, les normes et notre capacité à répondre à ces défis mondiaux. Par exemple, la polarisation des valeurs et les bouleversements économiques pourraient être à la base d'une concurrence stratégique émergente entre nations ou blocs. Et cette compétition pourrait aussi conduire à une refonte de certaines alliances et à un cloisonnement du développement technologique et de l'innovation. So these 6 big areas of change, they're not independent from another. They're intertwined and they involve stakeholders with very different values and priorities and perspectives. But it's the combined systemic impact that might transform the way that Canadians make sense of their economic and social choices. It might change their capacity to connect with each other and relate to each other. And it might impact how our individual and our collective capacities evolve to navigate some of that big change that is happening. And it's to foster the resilience throughout our economies and our social lives that Canadians will need to develop not only the technical and the professional know-how needed for the changing environment, but also the human and social skills that you need to flourish in these areas of uncertainty and change. So as public servants, we all need to practice foresight. We all need to think about what might happen in the future, and we all need to think about what futures we're creating for Canadians, especially now. So the pandemic has accelerated quite a lot of those trends. It's been a real catalyst. And yes, it did open the realm of the possible, and it has exposed a lot of the vulnerabilities in our systems. But so while we think that the window of opportunity that we're having now may seem broader, the time that we have to actually prepare for or to react to the accelerating changes that frame our strategic landscape has also been shortened. So we need to get ready for a big change, significant change. It will permeate all aspects of our lives, but we as public servants now have a role to play. We have a role to play in shaping the outcomes of that change for the Canadians of now and for all future generations. To learn more about Foresight and read our latest reports, please visit horizons.tc.ca.